Hi.
Hi! Hi!
A nightclub is the perfect place to find a suitable marriage partner.
I've been trying to convince the vampires to go out more to the club.
I'm looking for someone to have intercourse with. And maybe some light housekeeping.
Years ago, every party was a sex party. We would just call them parties.
You're loco, huh? I'm getting very close from the vibrations of these speakers.
I think we found ourselves in a dance off.
I think you're right.
Hey.
Scratches, scratches, stew.
Master, look!
Yeah, we'll get down from there.
Fantastic.
FX's What We Do in the Shadows premieres Tuesday, July 12th on FX. Stream on Hulu.
Don't sing if you want to live long. They have no use for your song. You're dead, you're dead, you're dead, you're dead and out of this world.
Listen to League podcast, the Vampire Council, a What We Do in the Shadows podcast, season 4, episode 7, Pine Barrens. I'm Matt Dursin.
Clay Ferno here.
Oh,
Did you hear that?
yeah. What was that?
That was what I expected it to sound like. It does sound cool when you open cans on the air. And then sometimes, like, I don't know, in TV commercials, somebody opens a bottle of beer that, like, really cracks it open.
Yeah.
I was expecting a crack it open kind of sound. I got more of a pop.
Yeah, that
like
was
kind of a
that was
pop
weird.
out of that.
Interesting. Well,
I could always edit it. I could fix it in post and put
put
one
like
of your
an
old beer cracks in there.
I know I have a lot of those. Not a lot of bottles. A lot of beer. Spoiler warning here, Clay. I know you're not.
Spoiler warning: I'm drinking a root beer.
Oh, well, very. I know you're not a alcoholic beer drinker
Root beer,
anymore.
root beer though.
Most beer comes in cans now, 16-ounce cans, and I'm just not. I don't know. It's not that I'm not a fan,
I know that.
but 16 ounces is a lot. And you're like, geez, I gotta drink this whole thing now.
It was never enough for me, I tell you what. And I gotta tell you something. Yeah, we've been together. We've been to Hojoko before, right?
That's right. That's right. Hojoko.
Check this out. I went to Hojoko the other day, and I couldn't believe it. As someone that doesn't drink beer, I know where this is off topic. We're not talking about vampires yet, but hold on, everybody. This is important. Do you remember Deli House in Kenmore Square? Do you remember that place?
Yeah. Oh my God, yeah.
One of the best things they had there was a Guinness float.
Mm-hmm.
I went to Hojoko. They have draft non-alcoholic Guinness, which sounded like a dream to me because I've been like craving a Guinness for the past 12 years since I've been sober. And I was like, give me that now. I didn't even know it was a thing. And I don't know if they probably don't can it. So I guess I can go to Hojoko. And I said, you know what's crazy? Do you guys have any ice cream? They're like, we do kind of have sort of ice cream. It's like, bring me one of those non-alcoholic Guinnesses and some ice cream. And I made myself a Guinness float, just like Deli House.
There
It
is a
was
Guinness. They call it Guinness Zero. If just in case you're, I don't know if it's available.
Do you see it at the liquor store?
I've never seen it. I'm just.
Oh, you're
Googling
looking it up.
Yeah, but it's a thing. I'm sure you could find it.
Well, I was very delighted to think that
That's
even
great.
existed. It was like a surprise I didn't know that I needed. And I was like, more, please. Thank you.
That's awesome. I'm glad you got to.
As someone
enjoy
that's
that.
been sober for a while, like sometimes you just want to have a Guinness or a beer. Like it's not like I'm like dying to like get drunk or anything. I just drinking a beer is cool.
Guinness is
It's fun.
yeah. I don't drink a lot of Guinness, to be honest. I'm a craft snobby beer person, but once in
its
a
own
while,
thing.
you drink a Guinness, you're like, damn, I should drink this more often. It's
I used
quite
to drink
good.
those
I
snake
went
bites,
through
like
this
Guinness
phase where
and
it's like,
cider.
oh, Guinness is too, thick. It's like soup and blah blah blah. But like,
It's like a meal. It's a
right?
lunch.
Exactly. But when I have one, I'm like, oh yeah, Guinness is pretty good. I kind of forget. But anyways,
Speaking of drinking blood,
speaking of drinking blood, speaking of meals, This episode, Pine Barrens, and I'm sure people know, I'm sure you know, but if anybody doesn't know, this Pine Barrens was also the name of a famous Sopranos episode, right? You know this?
Oh.
You didn't know this?
I'm crediting you with reminding me of it. I didn't put the connection to just now.
I think it's a famous episode. I remember it, and
It is, but I didn't. I wouldn't necessarily have made the connection.
Well, it was directed by Steve Buscemi, and it basically the main storyline was what's his name? Paulie and what's his face? No, Michael Imperioli. What was his name? Why am I blanking on his name? Christopher, right? Paulie and Christopher are basically trapped out in the woods in the snow, and they have nothing to eat, and
So when you were saying that, I thought it was a different episode that happens out in the woods with Silvio, okay. but yeah, you're right. That's a funny ass episode.
Yeah, and they're he's eating ketchup packets or whatever, and Christopher's like, "What? You had those? Give me one." And so they're fighting over ketchup packets and stuff, and it's a classic episode, and it's one that I would definitely. I've always said I should go just watch Sopranos from the beginning, but it's that's a whole thing. But I would definitely just watch that episode because it really is brilliant. I'm not sure if it won an Emmy, but I mean Sopranos is always great. But anyway, so that's where the title of this episode comes from.
Excellent.
But it also fits into the storyline. This is actually, I'm going to just say this right now. What We Do in the Shadows has had many great episodes. This is right up there. I think this episode is fantastic.
I gotta say, I think that the wedding episode was great, but it wasn't this great. This really was an exceptionally good episode of. I think the last one we did, the private school, I think was a great episode, and also this one is a great episode.
Yeah,
also,
this is right up there with
ranking
all
high.
time.
The first one was great too.
Sure, no, they're all great, but this one is I really just enjoyed not just obviously the comedy, but the character stuff they do is so good. So there's a lot going on here. I don't even know where to begin, but one of the big things. So Guillermo. Okay, let's not start there. So Sean. Right, the neighbor Sean has invited Laszlo and Nandor, and of course, baby Colin Robinson, who's not a baby anymore, I guess, but still, it's like a guy's trip. And for some reason, they tell him that Colin Robinson is his nephew or whatever, so he doesn't freak out. They gave him the brain scramblies so that he doesn't, he's here. But they're going on this guy's trip, basically hunting. They're going on a hunting trip, and they're Laszlo and Nanda are vampires hunt all the time, so it's this is a different kind of hunting, than that vampires do. But
because Sean owns this cabin in the woods, or he inherited it from his grandfather or something. So we're going out to Pine Barrens for a hunting trip, regular old guys thing.
Yeah. So then Nadja and the guide and the doll and I guess Marwa, right? Marwa's there, all sort of have this girls thing going when they watch Mamma Mia.
Yeah, they have a regular female fuck about. They're like, there's so much male energy here. It's good that now that the boys are gone, we can have, just girls' night in, and I get to, and Nadja says that Mamma Mia reminds her of her homeland, and so she doesn't get to watch it because, what is it? Oh yeah, because Laszlo won't let her watch it because it reminds him of all the kids that he's
the bastard children, right? That he's got all over the Europe. But I love they come up with this while they're sitting in a bathtub of blood. That's the beginning of the episode. So I love that scene. And so Guillermo thinks everybody's going to be gone or occupied. So he invites his family over for dinner. And meanwhile, he's got to cover up some of the weird stuff, and he puts a My So-Called Life poster over. He's basically sort of unvampiring it, but not. He doesn't do a very good job.
Doing his best, and it's kind of one of those things, even like where I think Nadja like leaves the girls for a minute, and like she ducks into the dining room just as, you know, it's like the movie Clue or something, like just as like Guillermo like picks up a napkin on the floor, so they don't see that each other is home, because they're both going, right. It's so nice to be at home alone for once.
Right.
They don't know each other are there.
I know, it's classic. It's kind of like Clue, and it's the same as the last episode a little bit. There's a little farce there, but yeah, I love like his family shows up. They think he works at Panera, which is Panera of all places. You know, they're like, oh yeah. Panera bread, but it's great. They speak in, I guess, Spanish, right? I don't want to sound bad. Yeah, they speak in Spanish a lot. It's a fun little thing to see Guillermo's family and all that. But the interesting is, at one point, Nadja comes up, and she finds them there, and he says, "Oh, this is, my girlfriend or whatever," but she's also the maid. Like there's like all these lies that are happening. So like she sits down with them at dinner, and they're like, "Oh, so like," and she's kind of like, "Yeah, okay." Like she's playing along, which is really nice. Like she could just be like, "Fuck you guys."
She does totally acquiesce to the whole farce because I guess Guillermo's mom tried to set him up with some girl, and he was like, "No, I have a girlfriend." And he renamed her Daphne too, something
from Frasier. That was the joke, right? It's like a Niles Daphne thing, which is a great reference. I love that because like, oh, you're dating the maid like Niles and Daphne, and they said no, Daphne wasn't the maid. She was like the father's caretaker, and they just have this such a goofy thing to like joke about, but like it's true that Daphne wasn't the maid. But yeah, I love this Frasier because I'm such a big Cheers fan. I don't know if you can tell from your Paramount account. I've been watching a lot of Cheers. But anyway,
you know what's funny? There was a good meme at San Diego Comic-Con. I put it in my Instagram story, but it was so hilarious. You know how they have like, Kevin Feige's on stage, like Steve Jobs would be on stage or whoever, like,
right.
big Comic-Con announcements. They have the timeline with all the movies, and they would do like, the picture would be like Kevin Feige, and it says Avengers Endgame, Avengers Infinity War, and like two different images. And they had like one, it was so funny. I'm just dying. Describing it is so crazy because it's so good. It was like Kevin Feige in front of the thing and said, Frasier, tossed salad. And then the next image was Frasier, scrambled eggs. As if it was a Marvel movie, that is.
That was the song, Yeah, it's like Avengers Endgame, Avengers Infinity War. Yeah, like Frasier tossed salad. But yeah, so I think it's great, and I don't want to overanalyze the show because that's not really what we do. But I mean, I guess it's a nice character thing that Nadja has come to sort of accept Guillermo enough that she will do this for him for a little while, and then it gets weird.
She even says like it started in the wedding episode too.
Yeah. It's great. Like even though she's
like,
still
it's weird being so nice.
Yeah, but like there's stuff going on because remember, like Guillermo has Van Helsing blood, and this is his family, so they also have Van Helsing blood, and they start to sense that Nadja is a vampire, and his grandmother especially is kind of like, oh, like you are not.
Yeah, right. She's like, and then and that was funny in both the like one-on-one camera thing with Guillermo, but also when he's talking to his abuela, and he's like, she's saying in Spanish because you can see in the captions, it's like, something happens to my body, and like, my mother told me about this, and then she's like, look at the hair on my arm, basically. And then and Guillermo was just like, I never really thought this through. I guess it makes sense that the rest of my family would also have Van Helsing blood. And he goes, it's not so good.
I know.
So funny. And not so good. His delivery is so great.
It's such a funny thing to say. So yeah, they start sort of coming after her. And then he has to say, no, she's not my girlfriend because I'm gay. And that's like a big, him coming out to his family. And they're like, that
was also the big, that was the headline the next day. And I think we probably hadn't, maybe you had, but I hadn't seen the episode yet. But like, I was watching all the headlines and looking at Harvey's like Instagram. It would be like New York Times interview about how important it is that Guillermo's gay on the show and everything. And like, and that he's, basically using it like, and people know that maybe know Harvey is gay, but like he's ultimately coming out to the world, himself as an actor in a way too. They just kind of like, he had a lot of press coverage, so I saw it before I saw the episode. I mean,
it's funny though, because obviously we've seen bits, he's been talking to this man and he said, I love you or whatever, like it was pretty much, it's not, I don't want to say it's not like Smithers on The Simpsons, but it's it was a good reveal, but we're not a huge surprise, right? I think we kind of knew Guillermo was gay, but not that it matters, right? Either way, of course, but like, it was a funny moment.
Well, also like the member, his cousin or whoever that is, that guy, like he's like,
right.
He usually Guillermo's the stand-in for the audience,
right?
But in this instance, since Guillermo is like the center of attention, his cousin is the stand-in for the audience. Like, yeah, we all knew, but why do you want to be a vampire? That's the thing that really concerns us.
That was the big thing, right? Because he said, these are vampires and I want to be a vampire. I work here. I don't work at Panera. But yeah, they were like, what? Why do you want to be a vampire? But it is...
that's the thing. And they kind of... Moment, they do celebrate, though, because, like, I think it's kind of like those coming out stories where the family does all know, and they're just waiting... They don't want to pressure him into coming out. They wait for him to do it at the time that he thinks is right, which is this time. And they're just like, yeah, of course, honey. Like, we knew that. Like,
right.
And we love you.
We're cool.
We, like, literally don't care. Like, please don't try to become a vampire, though. Like, that's fucked up.
Right. It is very sweet.
Helsing's.
It is a nice, the family is obviously very supportive, and that's what you want if you're coming. I love Nadja's. Doesn't she say, like, who isn't gay?
Yeah, I was saying that before. Like, who isn't gay? Get the trumpets out.
Yeah, but it is. It's
and then Guillermo goes, who isn't gay? Guillermo goes, lots of people, and she's like, whatever. And Guillermo's like, shade.
That was really funny. You're right. Yeah, shade. But I think it's a nice sort of way to. It's
a nice little button at the end to have like a little like gay joke kind of at the end there.
Yeah,
like a RuPaul's Drag Race joke at the end there.
Shade, yeah. It is. And then, like, meanwhile, she just wants to watch more Mamma Mia, and then I think she even asks for Mamma Mia 2, or whatever.
Yeah, right. Because she tells. Did you say this part? She hypnotizes them so they forget everything except for the fact that he wants to be a vampire and that he's gay. Like they said that, like they remember that when they get bedazzled or whatever.
When they get
but they don't remember they don't remember trying to kill Nadja or any of that stuff.
Right. They just remember.
It was funny too because Nadja goes, "Why is there so much sharp wood in the house?" They're throwing like stakes at her.
I know they are. They're throwing wooden stakes at her, which is really funny because, like, it's a vampire show. They don't get into a lot of they get into the sun. Obviously, you can't be out in the sun. That's like a thing. But yeah,
and you have to be invited in.
Stuff. Yeah, like I guess there was that episode where Guillermo was killing everybody. He was doing it with like wooden stakes, but they don't get into it that much. But yeah, they're just chucking stakes at her, and she's like, "What is happening? Like, why is there so much?"
And she's like crawling on the wall and stuff. It's fun.
Yeah,
kind of like in the movie, like when the first time when the Wellington cops come in, and they're like kind of like they're floating like above them, like in the kitchen, so they don't get seen.
Yeah. So we have to switch gears now, though, because we got to go to the guys on their hunting trip. This is like a whole separate story.
Yeah, I guess we kind of did the girls first.
We just kind of did all, yeah, because Guillermo, that's the important part of the episode. Obviously, Guillermo coming out.
Yeah, and they had the whole like, basically like the girls are. It is kind of fun being a guy, and there's like a bunch of girlfriends like having like girly time night, and they're like, oh my god, like, you know, let's watch Mamma Mia, and like the guy is saying stuff like that you hear friends say like, how long is this movie? And like, and they're really like funny. Saying all this stuff about like, I don't know the story of Mamma Mia. They're like, well, is Pierce Brosnan the dad? I was like, hey, that's James Bond.
Yeah, right. I don't know the story either. I know it's, you know, whatever. ABBA, right? I guess.
Yeah.
It's not ABBA
but
music.
That basically wraps up everything at home. All of that stuff happens at home.
You're right.
Out in the woods.
Out in the woods, yeah. So it's actually really, as they're driving up there, like there's a little, it's weird, it's funny tension. Like there's a couple little like Laszlo and Nandor have a little like kind of jabs at each other. Meanwhile, then Sean asks Colin Robinson like what he's doing on his computer. And Colin Robinson starts telling him, and the other two are like, "Oh," because he's doing his energy.
Oh, just the
vampire
drive up
thing.
there, yeah.
Yeah, and he's
because he is kind of being a Colin Robinson, which kids are that age that play like Minecraft and Roblox. Like, he's like, you can play and you can be like a pizza maker, and then I need new credits in Roblox, and guess what? And they're just like, ugh. They're over it. The vampires are over it. And then, they get to the cabin, and they cut back to Nadja and say, oh, well, Laszlo and Nandor have been arguing for the last one or two or the past 80 years. And they're like, but they're actually like being like pretty rude to each other because Nandor's taking all the bags out, but Laszlo's on the porch playing his flute. And he goes, are you going to help me with the bags? And he goes, I wasn't planning on it.
Right.
and Nandor goes, thank you. And then Laszlo, thank you. He's like, were you going to help me with the door? Nope. Thank you.
Wasn't planning on it. He says the exact same thing. I love it. He says, wasn't planning on it. But I think the main tension, I think, is that Laszlo says that Sean is his best friend. And I think Nandor is insulted a little bit, you know, even though this has been brewing for 80 years. He's only known Sean for like a few years, I guess, but like he still doesn't like being. And he even I don't even think we mentioned it, but yeah, like that I think that was a wish granted back in the wedding episode was so that Sean and Charlemagne can come to the wedding. Right, but not be freaked out that there's vampires, and I think they like get glamored and forget about it anyways. But they are actually at the wedding too, and he goes, "Oh, you're a vampire? Get out of here!" So right, not be freaked out. Every moment with Sean is so funny. Sean is that like typical like dumb New York guy, I guess, that you see in every movie.
He's really sweet and nice.
Yeah,
he's awesome. He's the best.
He's like Laz. Hey, me and Laz, you know, I love it.
Yeah. Yeah.
So he tells a scary story. Well, like, you know, like guys telling scary stories or whatever. Like he tells the story of the Jersey Devil to try to scare Colin Robinson, I guess, or just in general. He tells the story of the Jersey Devil.
Yeah, he's gonna eat children. That's what he does. You know, kind of like just regular ghost story.
Right.
You know, your crazy uncle telling you something. Yeah, right. Baby Colin Robinson's like, I don't believe that like the Jersey Devil's like even real. He calls him like Mr. I don't know. He has like an Italian last name, Mr. Imperioli or whatever. I don't even think that that he's even real. It's like, what does he even like look like? That's the best part. The description of what he looks like.
I know, and he's got this like giant balls or whatever, and this huge like.
And he's like Laszlo goes. He's like, he's got these low-hanging balls and a little knob cock. And Laszlo goes, fantastic. He's just like so psyched. Really... He's like, oh, tell me more.
But then he says, I love this line. He says, Sean may be my best friend, but like all humans, doesn't realize when he's been had. So apparently, like, the Jersey Devil is really a story told by vampires to humans so that they can dispose of bodies that they've fed, you know, that they've been feeding on
in the woods.
In the woods. Yeah. So it's like, oh, we made that up.
There's a lot of stuff that's like kind of that is very sort of like classic vampire too. Like I, unfortunately for you, but fortunately for the podcast, I've read a lot of like Anne Rice vampire stuff, and that like them telling that might as well be like in an Anne Rice vampire book. They would do stuff like that and be like, they have like all these like explanations for like real world things or ghosts that are really one supernatural thing, but really kind of just like a cover up. It's actually pretty funny.
Nice. Yeah, but the funny thing is, I don't know if it's funny but it's the twist, I guess, call it. There really is a Jersey Devil because he shows up and like he's
his gigantic balls and his little knob cock.
Little knob cock. But wait, I don't want to skip ahead too far because there is a moment after Sean gets really drunk, saying like let him, and like passes out, and Laszlo and like they put him to bed, but Laszlo and Nandor have it out, and like Nandor tells him like how he's like. How am I not your best friend? We've known each other all this time, and this is just some guy. And they fight, and then Laszlo takes out one of the hunting guns or whatever. They were talking about this gun that he inherited from his grandfather.
He had it in his hand. He was like he was like trying to get baby Colin Robinson to play with the gun instead of the iPad, and he was like, "Look at this!" And he's flipping, doing it around, quick draw stuff, and then he like cocks it at Nandor.
And he's like shooting at him, and Nandor's like doing like vampire like fast motion stuff. But he does.
Yeah, that's cool. That's kind of like the true blood vampire, like the fast vampire.
Yeah. But he does shoot him, and he's like, what the fuck? And so, and he shoots Sean too, right? Sean gets up and is like, what's going on? And he shoots him. But all this ruckus, I guess, or I don't remember what it was, but yeah, the Jersey Devil does come,
and then they're like, "Oh, where's Colin Robinson?"
Oh, that's
right.
Colin Robinson
he
ran
like
out into the woods.
Like the thing that you don't want, when the three guys are in a cabin, and then the kid went out and was never seen again. Like he went out, he basically heard the Jersey Devil out there in the woods and was like looking for him, and that's when kind of Nandor and Laszlo like they're like, "Come here, baby, Colin Robinson," and that's when they had to have like a man-to-man. Like,
I love. He says, "Come on, come here, boy." Well, but, like they kind of like, look, hey, I'm sorry, and
Laszlo's like, "I will keep it brief. My feelings are much the same."
Right, because Nandor has this whole long speech, and he goes, "My feelings are much the same." Yeah, it is
very well.
It's a nice. Buddy moment, I like it
because they want to be, man friends. Right.
It's not like sappy or anything. It's right. Yeah, my feelings very much. So it's great. But yeah, when they find Colin Robinson, and the Jersey Devil comes, and Laszlo's going to get his flute again because that's what he used to like scare the skunks away or whatever. So here's Matt Berry again playing. I don't know if he's really playing or not, but. Like then they like start fighting with him, and they say they kick him in the balls.
Yeah, and it's like a crazy like I don't know like bread and puppet theater kind of like almost like puppet thing. And if you have watched Wellington Paranormal, which I really appreciate, like that show is really good.
I haven't watched it yet.
It's in the same. We should do we should do something for the Patreon. We should should do something on Wellington Paranormal, but they have like kind of like like low budget, like not as good as the movie, but still kind of like this. That Jersey Devil was ridiculous. Yeah, but also kind of low budget and like puppety.
Silly,
there's a lot of puppets this season.
So funny, like so goofy looking.
So good.
So he can't get to his flute or whatever. So we'll play some music, and Colin Robinson tells its iPad, play some Jersey music, and it plays Bon Jovi.
Living on a Prayer.
Yeah, I mean,
he's like, skip to the good part.
Yeah. We're halfway, but I guess they didn't want to, didn't have the budget for Springsteen, but that's okay. Bon Jovi is pretty much Jersey.
I mean, I'm sure that song isn't cheap either.
No, that's probably true. Yeah. But I mean, it works because it's cheesier. I guess you could have played, I don't know what Springsteen song would have been the best one.
Well, they kind of like
all the Springsteen
maybe it's
songs
better for you as a Springsteen fan that they didn't have him like be a doofus. Like I feel like he'd be a little bit more of a doofus to Bon Jovi than to. I've seen Bon Jovi live, and it's kind of a fun '80s spectacle. It's not. It's closer to Hall & Oates than it is to Bruce. Bruce is like a rocker, serious guy. Like there's like a lot of fun associated with Jersey people and John Bon Jovi and that kind of shit.
Yeah, no, you're right. I mean, most of Bruce's songs are about getting out of Jersey anyway, so that's kind of the ironic thing. They're all about like...
He's even got a song about fucking Nebraska. How far away is that? All right?
So
he's probably got a song or two about North Dakota, I bet.
I don't know. He probably does. One of the lesser known songs, but yeah, so it's funny though. Yeah. Cause it does kind of distract him. Right. And then they start draining the Jersey Devil and everything. And they end up cutting off his head. Right. Is that how it ends up?
Yeah, I think so. Because he's got a beard like an Amish and a half goat, half something face.
But they end up mounting the head on the wall, like he,
in that cabin, right?
In the cabin, yeah. So it's kind of like a nice Nandor and Laszlo together moment, like it's like they did go hunting
because they did, yeah. Because they also like, I remember like one of the bickering. Do you ever notice somebody that's like this? Maybe they were like. The English is a second language or something like that, but Nandor is like, when he was complaining to Laszlo earlier, it's like, you wouldn't sit behind Sean in the Honda Element when you know that my legs are longer than... Oh, and actually I did want to bring this up specifically because you will not allow me to sit diagonally across, whereas I feel that is a better conversational place. See, my thing is when Laszlo wants to talk to Sean, he's in a diagonal relationship.
Look at you! All right, yeah. Look at me bringing that back.
I'll never let it go. I'll never let. No, I'm just kidding. But yeah, he's like. Right. Do you ever have people say stuff that like they say when he's calling it like the Honda Element? Is like they're saying it like the very proper way, and it just sounds so funny. When you know that your seat behind Sean in the Honda Element had plenty of room.
In the Honda,
and how
Nandor, in the car the way he says,
whatever, like, baby Colin Robinson, all that. He's like adds an extra like adjective to everything. It's so funny. That is kind of a Curb Your Enthusiasm moment, right? Yeah. So he's like, well, I wanted to have, that's kind of how they bring it up. He's like, yeah, I thought it would be best totally
for the conversation
Curbcast
dynamic with my friend Sean. Because Nandor was directly behind him, and he was squished because his legs. He is a tall dude. What's his name?
Yeah, that is definitely not.
Kayvan.
You want, as I was saying, you want to accommodate people as best you can. If the guy's got long legs, he should be in the long leg seat. Honestly, you never do that to someone. They should be up front or whatever.
Well, that's true. There was nobody sitting up front. I guess the camera.
The camera. Right. Yeah, which you acknowledge the camera because it's his documentary. So yeah.
Right.
The camera crew's in there.
Camera crew's up front, but yeah, it is pretty funny. But that sort of is what starts like your friend Sean. It's like, well, I'm your friend. Like Nandor is like, wait a minute, I'm your friend, and that kind of starts the whole thing.
Really, he's your best friend?
Yeah. So it is kind of I guess one of the themes of this episode too is sort of like human, like contact and everything, and yeah, like Laszlo is always like Sean. Well, since they first hung out, but like
and Nandor, like the rest of them, like they don't like they like Sean, but they would like Nandor thought it was an imposition to use one of his wishes to invite him to the wedding. He's like.
Yeah.
Well, he was being a bridezilla anyway, so anything would have set him off. But also, like, but Nadja, like, she doesn't care. You know, like, they don't care about anybody. But Laszlo and loves Sean.
But Nadja kind of likes Guillermo's family, and you know what I mean? Like, I think this episode kind of has some, you know, like human, you know, elements and whatnot. So, and Marwa is human, although she's technically, I don't know what she is. She's technically human, I guess, but I mean, she was brought back from the dead, so maybe she's some kind of immortal or something. But
I think that in the wedding episode, sorry to keep going back to that one, but but they're, I mean, you know, we watch them together, but then it's all one story basically. There's not a lot of like through stories, but there's, you know, there's all these B, C, and side stories and everything. But the Baron says, like, are you ready to make her a vampire and be with her for all eternity? And he's like,
yeah, I know. He doesn't want to.
And then the Baron's like, I think the Baron is like, exactly. Like, this is I've seen this 1,000 times before. Yes.
Yeah, exactly. She'll die, and then you can find someone else or whatever. Yeah.
Yeah. Oh, and then it's funny because I think both Nadja and Laszlo like go fuck the Baron in the coat check now that he's back to his like really nice looking self.
Yeah, Laszlo always had a thing for him, he said, or whatever. So, but you know, Marwa is not a vampire, I guess. We'll just say that, I guess. So, not yet. At least, and maybe never, but it is.
But Guillermo's human too, you know, like, so there's like plenty of humans on the show to keep them, you know. Well,
I think that's part of the. Yeah, it's part of the characters too. You know, the characters getting, you know, evolving more. You know, like being more tolerant instead of just eating humans. They.
Yeah, and then even like Nadja was like, even Mrs. Nandor the Relentless is going to join us at our Mamma Mia party, and they're like braiding each other's hair, and it's all like, don't pull too hard. Stuff. And the guide is like doing like funny like poltergeist stuff to the TV. Like, I remember the last time she had to like Nadja had to like play a videotape or something.
That's like a sort of a weird little subtle joke. They've done this a few times. Even the one that Taika Waititi was on.
Yeah, like they don't know, they can't figure that
VHS.
Stuff out.
Like it's all
it's all VHS. The vampires don't know how to turn it on.
Right. So it's like 40-year-old technology that they still can't figure out. But I love. Right. I mean, I love that. Like, it's just something they've never really, they don't acknowledge it that much, but it is a great little, they're even watching, when they asked for Mamma Mia Part 2, they want it on VHS, which is probably not even available, right? Because Mamma Mia Part 2 came out not that long ago, right?
Oh, I don't even, I don't know.
Think so. I think the second one was pretty recent. I don't know. I'm not a fan, but yeah, I mean.
And I'm sure we're missing jokes about the father of Pierce Brosnan or whatever. It was so funny when Kai's like, how long is this movie?
Yeah, Mamma Mia,
that's a fidget and sigh away from, if you're watching a movie with a bunch of friends, I think I'm going to see what's going on in the kitchen or whatever. On this board.
Yeah, you're like, oh, all right.
How long is this movie?
Well, it's great. You take out your phone, you can start like looking stuff up. You know,
yeah, like how long is this movie?
Yeah, right. Like, I gotta check my email.
That was also a fun thing because they like with some other bickering fight, we don't have to go over everything, but they were like, they're making like baby Colin Robinson do Siri searches. And Laszlo's like, boy, do your thing.
Right.
And he called Siri to do the John Bon Jovi too.
Right. Just so you know, though, Mamma Mia, Here We Go Again came out in 2018. So there was definitely no VHS.
He's going to have to go to your old work in North Dakota and downgrade it onto one of those.
Yeah, right. Maybe make a copy of whatever. Yeah. But I mean, I love, this was a great episode. We probably didn't even do it justice, to be honest with you, because there are so many funny moments but
well, it's worth watching and so funny. And no Wish episode. I think the wishes they put those to bed for this one, at least
for now. Right. I think we'll see the wishes come back, but
we will.
Yeah, this was a nice,
because this is episode 7. there's an episode 8 that we both need to watch, and then just only 2 more after that. So we're steamrolling toward the end, and that's why it's so funny too, because like sometimes like like in those old school sitcoms, like you might not have a wedding until season 6. Let alone episode 6.
And it would be the end of and it would be like the end.
It would be the end
finale. Yeah, like
either the season or a series finale.
Right. So yeah, it would definitely be like one. That's why I was surprised, but I guess you're right. It's not. I'm not disappointed, but yeah, like they just here it is mid season, and they did the wedding, so. We'll have to see, what they have in store for the finale. Since it's not the wedding, it'll have to be something big.
It'll have to be something big. I think, predictions wise, like maybe you said something, so I don't want to take credit for it, but maybe Marwa dies by the end of the episode, by the end of the season, and is not his wife, so they can reset back to 0 with just the 4 vampires, and like Colin Robinson as an adult by the end of the season.
Well, that's probably something they can do. I don't want her to die, just for the record. But I mean, I think he might not wish her. You know what I mean? Like, I don't know. Like, kind of wish her to not be so submissive or something like that. You know what I mean? Like, so we'll see. We'll see.
Yeah, and it's not like. Well, he did a weird thing that like isn't very. It's not like it's manipulative. I mean, it is in a way, but it's like, it's a different kind of thing. Like, if she likes the same thing he likes, like, usually kind of like it's opposites attract, or like, kind of like you were saying like earlier, it's like Stacy likes video games and I like comic books. That's basically like a pretty good breakdown of a relationship.
Sure.
Like, like you need to have an opposite thing that's, it needs to be like, you need to have a little bit of stuff that you don't agree on. You can't agree on everything. That would suck.
Yeah. But is he going to like sort of free her, or is he going to, or what?
Yeah, because that seems like a pretty heavy spell to put on someone.
Right.
But it's not really it's not as bad as it could be, where that, like you said, like if she was completely submissive to everything, like I want her to do what I command, is different than she likes the same things that I like, but it's still a pretty heavy spell.
Right. So I think he might, I don't know, this is just a prediction. I have nothing to back this up. I feel like he's going to have a moment where he's like, okay, like he's going to just have a change of heart. And just say, I want
sort
you to
like
like
free
your
her
own
and just
stuff.
like let her go into the world,
right?
Or something.
Not in a free her basically. Not in a just in like a you know what, I was wrong kind of a thing. So we'll have to see. There's only 3 more, 8, 9, and 10. So let's see what they do.
Let's get ready to flip that house in the next.
Well,
one.
I think that's the next episode. You're right. Just. So
cursed by the autoplay and the while I'm here it says go flip yourself. The mansion gets a makeover. A 1-line, very short explanation. Like the Pine Barrens is like 2 sentences. Go flip. The mansion gets a makeover.
Well, remember how it was all falling apart in the first episode.
Guillermo says like, be careful, there's thorns, to his grandmother when she's going up the stairs. Right. And I you know what I thought was funny? Because Nandor's on the first floor, and I guess maybe that little parlor is on the first floor, but the dining room's upstairs. I guess because we're like New England people, we would maybe think the dining room would be like, I don't know, on the first floor or something.
I guess it is a New England thing. Yeah, I don't know, but they're on Staten Island, so who knows?
Yeah.
But spoiler warning, do you not? I don't know if you want to hear this, but maybe you do. You probably can look it up. Nick Kroll is listed on IMDb as appearing in this episode.
Well, that's
sorry. So I hope that's okay that I did that.
Well, I mean, I'm going to watch this tonight, so
of course,
and what did I say? That's one of the. Besides these amazing guest stars we've had, even like the Djinn in introducing him this season, he's funny as hell. And like Fred Armisen,
Oh,
Kristen
yeah.
Shaw.
Red Armors.
Nick
I know.
Kroll.
Kristen Shaw is like a regular.
Yeah,
Pretty
she's
much.
part of
She's
the
like on
crew.
every episode. So good for her. She's hilarious. Yeah, so it's
And
just
good
another
to
in a
see.
long
I'm
line.
happy to see any other vampires, I guess. Like, even if it's Derek or the Baron or the Sire, or when did the Sire learn to learn English? And Barry goes, I taught him mostly with flashcards.
Right. It's great. Yeah, all these people, they're all going to appear.
Derek, Nick Kroll. Yeah, Nick Kroll's a
Yep.
good one because maybe there'll be a hat thing or whatever. Who knows?
I
But
know,
he's
maybe
great.
once
And
a-
he hates them. They're
Right.
like, so it should be an interesting, spicy one.
I'm very excited. Yeah, maybe I'll watch it tonight too. But thanks for listening, which you didn't, but if you did, thanks. And don't forget YouTube. Like and subscribe all these episodes. Thanks to you, Clay, and I mean that literally. Clay puts all these up on YouTube. So all of our What We Do in the Shadows eps
So
should be up
please
there.
subscribe to our YouTube channel if you're listening to this on audio. If you are listening to us on audio on Anchor, that's the best link that we usually send people to. It's in our Instagram bio. That's a good one. leakpodcast.com/podcast, Apple Podcast, Spotify, literally wherever you get your podcast. And like I said, we are trying to, as a model, we would like to put everything up on YouTube as well. So please subscribe to our YouTube channel. Let's beat Baby Crawlin Robinson at his subscriber game.
That's right. And because we're grumpy old men, we actually have a Facebook group just for this podcast. So go find the Vampire Council over there as well. So, yeah.
That's right.
I don't know if
That's
people
right.
still use Facebook, but it's there.
People
So-
do use Facebook. I use Facebook all day for work.
Oh, wow.
And as much as I said YouTube, I neglected to say that, but the video version of the podcast, the same file, I also upload it to Facebook. And as much we put all the links everywhere, so if I upload it to YouTube, I put it in the group. But I also will just share into the group the Facebook thing, so you don't even have to leave Facebook if you don't want.
Oh, look at that. All right.
Yeah.
So Facebook is good for something. Well,
I guess
I don't
so.
mean that. I'm sorry. But however you watch it or listen to it,
We appreciate you.
we
Leave us a
appreciate it,
review.
right.
Thanks.
Right.
Listen to our James Bond episodes and all our other stuff on League Podcast.
yeah, we got a lot of stuff. So
A lot in the hopper.
a lot in the hopper. So thanks for listening. Should we count it down? Do you want to count this down? And we'll
No,
try
I'm
it out?
gonna let you
Oh,
count it down.
Okay. Here we go. 3, 2, 1.
Back. Nice.
Nice. All right.
Later, you fucks.
Lady Fox. Oh, there you go. I thought we can end it however we want. It's our fucking thing.
Yeah.
It's one of the hardest guitar pieces in the world to play.